welcome back to the Lazy Girls Kitchen. My name is Maggie, and on today's episode I'm going to share with you how I like to make my nachos. Now these are just the most amazing, I don't know, they're just so full of flavor. They're loaded with so much stuff. It's not like you just have like school nachos when you had like a little bit of meat and some drizzle of cheese. No. This is like the Bentleys of nachos. So without further ado, let me take you through your list of ingredients. So this we're actually going to be doing in stages. So the first stage is the meat. So what you're going to need is, I have ground turkey. You can use ground beef. I love ground beef. My tummy, however, does not. So I use ground turkey. You're going to need some garlic, some onions. So in here, let me see if I can remember. We have cumin, paprika, chili powder, dried parsley, dried oregano, olive oil, pepper, and salt. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to add some olive oil to my pan. I would say about a tablespoon or so. And to this, we're going to go ahead and add in our onions. Now we're going to cook these down for about 4 to 5 minutes, just until they're nice and golden brown, almost translucent, and then we're going to continue on. So my onions are getting nice and golden, so I'm going to go ahead and add in my garlic. And this is going to cook for about another minute or two with the garlic. And you want to keep this on pretty medium, like medium-low heat, I would say. You don't want it too high, otherwise you're going to scorch the garlic and you're going to just make it bitter, which is not what we want. Okay, so this looks perfect to me, so I'm going to go ahead and add in my ground turkey. And you're just going to break this up and cook this all the way through, and then we're going to go ahead and finish it off. Okay, so my meat is like 99% cooked through, and if your meat does render a lot of fat, you might want to just drain it. Mine's pretty lean, so it doesn't, I'm not gonna drain it. I'm just gonna let it evaporate as it cooks. So to this, I'm gonna go ahead and add all of my seasonings. Get it nice and incorporated. Some salt, and then pepper. Now I know this looks very pale, but like I said, I have to substitute the ground beef for ground turkey. So my color is going to be a little bit different than if you choose to use ground beef. But trust me, boy, is it still delicious. Alright, so I'm going to just work on this, and then I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So my ground turkey is nicely cooked through. It's fully covered in the coatings of the seasoning. So I'm going to go ahead and shut the heat off. And I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to cover it up. And we're going to get started on the cheese. So to make the cheese, what you're going to need is some diced jalapeno, some flour, some butter, whole milk, cheddar cheese, salt, and then pepper. So to start with this, you're gonna need a pan with high sides, because we're gonna assemble our cheese in here, so you don't want it to overflow. So on medium-low heat, you're gonna go ahead and add in your butter, and you're just gonna let this melt. So my butter has melted beautifully. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my flour. And what we're making here is a roux. So you're gonna have to stir this the entire time, making sure that what you want to do is make sure that it's nice and combined. That way you don't get like a gluey taste. Instead, it's going to make it a nice thickening agent for your cheese, because we want a nice fluffy, beautiful cheese. So you're just going to work your magic around the pan for about a minute or so. So I stirred this for about a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and add in my whole milk. Oops, sorry. Go ahead and add that in, and you're going to keep stirring. And you're going to bring this mixture up to a boil, and then bring it down to a simmer so that you get it to nicely thicken for you. And you're just going to have to keep stirring, because the milk burns, and you don't want that. You don't want that to stick to your pan. You just want it to nicely thicken. So as you can see, my roux has gotten nice and thick. Look at how beautiful that is. So we're going to go ahead and add in our cheese. We're going to stir this as we shut the heat off. So we're going to stir this in, and just making sure we're constantly stirring until the cheese is nicely melted. smells so good. You have no idea. Okay, so to this, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my jalapenos because this is where your kick is also gonna come from the cheese. And then go ahead and add in some salt, and I'm stirring the whole entire time because I don't want to set this. I want it to be nice and runny, which is why after this we're gonna go ahead and assemble our nachos super quickly. And then just a little bit of pepper. All right, I'm gonna give this a good stir, and then I'm gonna meet you back here so we can assemble our nachos. So to my tortilla, I already put some tortilla chips into my bowl, and I'm gonna go ahead and top it with some of my meat, if I can get to it. Now I make like individual portions of this, so what I do is I take the rest and I put it in the fridge, and whenever I want tacos or I want nachos, I just take this out and I make myself I can't even speak, nachos and tacos. There we go. All right, I'm gonna top this with my beautiful cheese, which by the way is like already getting hearty, but it's just so good. Look at this. Ta-da. This definitely is not the same nachos you get served at school, at least not at my school. Oh, it smells so good. And the same thing with the cheese. I put the cheese in the fridge, and then when I'm ready to eat, I take it out of the fridge, pop it in the microwave for a few minutes to soften it up. Not even a few minutes, a few seconds. And then they get nice and soft, and I put it on nachos, I put it on whatever I want. So I'm gonna top it with some fresh tomatoes. You don't have to do this. This is completely optional. I just think tomatoes and nachos go so good together. It's almost like having salsa. I'm gonna give it some fresh avocado that I just diced up. Okay, that's good for me. And because I love cilantro with this, anything spicy, I'm just gonna top it with some cilantro. All right, I'm gonna clean my hands off, and then I'll meet you back here to try this. Okay, so I tried to move pretty quickly so that this wouldn't set too much, but here's my taco bowl. I'm gonna try to give this a little bit of everything. Some cheese, some meat, some veggies. This is the best ever. The perfect combination of everything. Now, I don't like mine super spicy, so I only put in half a jalapeno. But if you like fire on yours, you go ahead and add that whole thing in. I, however, have stomach issues, so I can't take the heat. But this, like honestly, the best combination of everything, and it tastes so fresh. Definitely not your school nachos. So make sure you head over to www.thelazygirlskitchen.com to get this fantastic recipe. I'm going to continue to eat these, and make sure you subscribe and give me a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!